watch this?
How?
Ew,
How do you watch this? Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants. Hi, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we recommend a movie in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Megan, and I love romance.
My name is Demi, and I love horror.
And this week I had Demi watch Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind. And for some reason, I thought I was the one who was supposed to come up with what the connection was. And that's why right before we recorded, I was like, oh no, I didn't think about it. And then I just realized I came up with it. So
Yes.
did you guess the common thread?
They both feature a train scene.
Yes.
Okay. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yep.
train.
I
Got
kept
it.
Real simple.
I like that. So
Thank you.
both feature a train.
It's for our locomotives out there, you know?
What's that train guy that I was like obsessed with?
Yeah, that one guy. I know.
Name? Yeah.
I don't know his name though, but I know
hope
who
he's
you're
doing
talking
well.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I hope he watched this movie and not Train to Busan.
I feel like you got to watch both. As a
Probably.
true train fan.
If you're a fan of trains, you'll have seen all the train movies.
Anyway, this movie,
Yeah.
Eternal Spotlight.
God, I am so sorry, dude, because honestly, I'm watching this and I was like, this is either going to be the most chaotic episode or the shortest, because you might just go, stuff happens, because I don't know how you're going to break it. It is like, how do you break this down?
It's a mix of both, but because I took notes and they were pretty light because I was watching, I was really into the movie, and I'm writing just little bits in here and there, and then I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
And so I'm looking at movie synopsis online, and the one I found was a true timeline of the movie,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, oh, and so I'm like trying to write
your
my notes.
brain. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot, so I'm gonna really do my best to break it down, but
I mean,
Yeah.
if we miss bits and parts, it's fine, because it's just about the vibe, the energy.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
It is what it is, but yeah, it's been since college since you've seen it, right? Same.
Yeah, it was a long time. There was a lot that I forgot. A lot that I remember was the beginning,
Yes.
tiny bits of the middle, and the end, and that was
Correct.
it. So
The same. And Travis actually sat and I was like, Travis, will you watch this movie with me? And every time it's a romance movie, he's not super interested.
Mhm.
And so he was like, okay, I'll watch it when we eat dinner, and then I'm just like gonna go do my own things. But he was drawn in. He was captivated. He watched it start to finish. So I'll give you some of his insights as well.
Great. I think there's a lot to this movie that's not just romance, and I think that's what makes it really interesting to watch, because it is. I consider the genre is a drama sci-fi. There's just some sci-fi-ish
okay.
bit to it.
Yeah, I agree.
It is a
That's why Travis
2004
liked it.
movie. Yeah, that's why he stuck around.
Yeah.
2004. It is
Mhm.
rated R.
Mm-hmm.
It is an hour and 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Director is Michael Gondry, who's a
Mhm.
French director. Haven't seen any of his other work.
Okay. I don't know his other. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head any director's work ever. So.
I like 3 people. So, all right. So I'm gonna jump in and we're gonna have a good time together. Okay.
Okay, great. I always have a good time with you, Debbie.
I'm so happy. Just have a good time together.
Yep.
This is just for us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why we're so hyper today.
I don't know. It's the snow.
It's the
I
energy
guess.
of your
Yeah.
birthday. We're like
There we go.
celebrating.
Yes.
So
Already. February's a good month.
it's a
you
good
know?
month. Absolutely. All right. Speaking of February, this movie.
Yes.
We start with Joel Barish, who's played by Jim Carrey. And he wakes up in his apartment and he goes to head to work, but last minute he ends up taking a train to Montauk, right?
Yep.
Montauk.
Mm-hmm.
On impulse on Valentine's Day in 2004.
Uh-huh. This is perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So hope you all had a good Valentine's Day, and if
Yeah.
not, sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
It's always next year.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you didn't have love with someone, I hope you had love for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Support all kinds of love on the podcast.
Yep.
Anyway, so he takes this train. he's walking along the beach and he's
Mhm.
making entry in his diary. He notices its pages missing
Mhm.
and he's talking about an ex and he wonders if he'll ever meet someone again. He's just
Mhm.
very sad boy, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
Very sad boy.
he ends up meeting a woman, or he sees a woman on the beach.
Mhm.
She's wearing an orange sweatshirt, and then he sees her at the diner, and this woman is oh my god, why am I Kate Winslet?
Oh,
I
I
almost
was.
say Kate Beckinsale. It's like stop Beckinsale. This is Kate Winslet.
Yeah. Travis was like, "Oh, that's the Titanic lady." I was like, "Yeah, Kate Winslet," and he was like, "And she was in The Holiday too." And I was like, "Uh-huh." And then he was so proud of himself. He just like his chest puffed out. Like, I remembered someone from your romance movie.
Yeah, good job.
Good
Good
job.
memory.
Congratulations. You got it.
The iconic Kate, she has this blue hair and
Mhm.
she's so pretty in this movie. I can't get over her.
Yeah, of course.
She's pretty in every movie. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. Just no complaints ever with her. But
No.
I will say, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl, I'm always a little in love with, even though it's such a freaking cliche.
I know. It's something about the look. Just like,
Yeah,
I get it. I
think it's because we were like that was our teenage years.
Yes.
And I know for myself, all I ever wanted was to have blue hair. I wanted blue hair so bad, and my mother would not let me. And I got Manic Panic blue hair dye, and I put it underneath my hair, and it didn't dye my hair because my hair is
so
essentially
dark.
black. And I was devastated.
Oh. Yeah, blue is the only color I hadn't done because I've done purple, pink, red, green. I hadn't done
Oh,
blue.
you're right. You have done green. I've done blue, but
Yeah.
I haven't done the majority. I've done blue, pink, orange, yellow, but like it was like with other colors. I've never done green or purple.
Yeah. Purple vibes. Purple vibes.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's pulling off the blue.
No, I've done purple. Okay, sorry. Anyway. Sorry, I wanted our viewers to know, our listeners to know.
They have to
yeah,
know, of course.
For the fandom.
So, Joel sees her again on the train back home. She introduces herself as Clementine, and she's like,
Can I pause right now? Yes. I'm so sorry. I know we just got off a tangent, but I have to say, I don't know what attracted either of them to each other in these scenes.
Girl, don't worry.
Okay.
Break it down. I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
I was like, I don't see it.
I have a theory as to why, but
okay, great.
It is such a weird vibe because he is so shy and just kind of unsure how to react to her. And to be fair, she comes off very strong. She's like, my name's Clementine. Don't make any jokes about it. And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, Huckleberry Houndsel. Oh, my darling. Clementine, right. Whatever. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And she's like, you probably think I'm a bitch. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Right. And she's drinking. And my initial thought is if I'm on a train and this person's dumping liquor into their coffee cup, I'm like, oh, you have a problem.
Yeah, I would think that she was high on something. Yes. I would be a little scared for my life.
Yeah.
And I know she's very pretty, so she has that pretty privilege where Joel's like, I guess it's fine. Be weird
to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's just like talking to him, and at one point he's like, I'm trying to write. And she's like, oh, okay. But then she still talks to him, and I'm like, girl, what is happening? It's just a weird conversation. I'm like, what is happening here?
It's super
like I said,
weird.
I think I know why, but anyway. So they get back home, and Joel ends up seeing Clementine walking. He offers her a ride back to Boston, which I would have just kept driving.
Correct.
They go to her apartment. She's like, oh, you should come in. And I'd be like, red flag, no. He comes inside, and it's just nonstop.
She mixes a drink and mixes it with her fingers. She shoves her fingers into the glasses and spins it around, and he drinks it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just met you, and you shoved your finger in my drink.
Yeah, and they're sitting on the couch, and she's holding his hand. She's like, I think I'm gonna marry you. And I'm like, she's gonna kill. And I told Brett, I'm like, would this work on you if this happened? And he's like, yeah.
Like,
what? No, what? I thought he was lying. He's like, oh, if an attractive girl was like this into me, I would have stayed. And I'm like, what?
Shut up. What? Why are they so dumb?
So yeah,
I think.
Listen,
you know what? I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
I think it's well, you know, you think of the Manic Pixie Girl thing, right? It's like that craziness, and I think it's just like
it's entrancing.
Like a drug. Yeah. So Joel's just like real shy and just like, I should probably go home. And she's like, I want you to call me. You should call me.
Yeah.
And he leaves and he ends up calling her immediately when he gets back home. And so he's obviously really into her too, even though he's was kind of seemed a little, like weirded out, but I guess he was like into it. They end up that same night going to the frozen river, Charles River. And it's terrifying because it's just frozen over lake river, and she just goes on top of it and drags Joel with her, and they're laying on the ice and they're looking at the sky, and I'm sure it seems really romantic and sweet, but I would be terrified, especially because they're laying near a crack.
They're laying near a crack, which is a lot for me. But you know,
whatever, they're a little crazy. So
yeah, I mean, she's living on the edge. She lives life on the edge.
She sure does. So Joel's driving her home. It's like morning, and she's like, I'm tired. Can I sleep at your place? And he's like, sure. And she's like, I'm gonna go get my toothbrush. So she goes inside, and then a man knocks on Joel's window, and it's actually Elijah Wood. And I'm like, Elijah, hi here. And he's
Travis was like, why are you out of the Shire?
There's so many people in this movie.
There's so many people.
And so he's knocking on Joel's window, and he's like, can I help you? And Joel's like, what? He's like, what are you doing here? And it's a very weird conversation.
Super
it's just
strange.
Like, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Joel crying in his car, and then the opening credits start up. So this is technically the start of the movie, and this
is what Travis was like. He was like, okay, is that a mental hospital? Is she crazy? I was like, do you want me to actually confirm or deny? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, no. And then he was like, is he schizophrenic? He was coming up with all these theories. I was like, no.
Yeah, if it wasn't sci-fi, one of those would be true.
Right.
So the next few scenes are a little confusing at first. It's snippets of things. So we see Joel grabbing his mail, and then there's these two guys in a van kind of following him, and they're like, oh, that's the guy. And it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then a neighbor's asking Joel what him and Clementine are doing for Valentine's Day because it's only a day away. But then you're thinking, wait a second.
We just took the train. Day. Yeah.
So you already know things are weird. All right. Yeah. Everything's going to make sense at the end. Okay. Promise.
Yes. Yeah. So, but mostly 95, not 80% makes
98% makes sense. Yeah. So Joel is like, oh, and it seems like things are weird. So he goes to his apartment. He puts on these pajamas that he got from a package, and he takes some pills and passes out. Yeah. And then soon after, those two guys from the van end up taking a bunch of computers and shit to his apartment. And it's like, the fuck? Okay, what is happening? Super is he getting abducted?
Yeah.
So then we cut to a scene, and it's 3 days before Valentine's Day. And Joel had gone to visit Clementine at the bookstore where she was working to give her a Valentine's Day gift and apologize. So something happened between them. This is just a flashback.
Yeah.
And he sees her, and she's like, I don't, like, hello, sir.
Yeah, who are you?
Whatever, let me know if you need help. Yeah. Like, she doesn't know him at all. And she's dating some guy. We don't see his face.
But Travis immediately knew who it was.
Really?
From the back, from the part of the head that you saw, Travis immediately knew. I was like,
he would.
What?
He would.
Yeah.
Psychopath.
Weirdo. I know. He knows way too much about celebrities.
So Joel tells this to his two friends, Carrie and Rob Eakin, and Rob is played by David Cross, and he's
oh my god,
has a short role, but he's so great.
I'm so sorry.
Great.
Every time I see that man, it's just Arrested Development. I can't. Right? There's nothing else. You are.
Joel's like, she acted like she didn't know me. I don't know what the hell's going on. And Rob ends up telling Joel about a card that they received from Lacuna Inc. And the card states that Clementine has had a procedure to erase Joel from her memories and that they should refrain from bringing up Joel to Clementine in the future. So Joel is frustrated and distraught to learn that Clementine chose to erase him from her life. So he ends up wanting to do the same procedure. He ends up, which is crazy. Like, that is such a crazy concept.
I have a lot of feelings about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. So he ends up going to the clinic. He meets the doctor and the owner named Howard, and he ends up making an appointment the day before Valentine's Day. So, in preparation, Joel collects everything associated with Clementine in his life and is required to record a message about Clementine for Lacuna, recounting his memories and their relationship. And he starts with how they met. And he says that they met at a beach party that he didn't want to go to, which is strange because in the beginning of the movie, that's not how they met. So that's already telling you, okay, things are definitely weird.
weird.
So Howard's technician Stan, who's played by Mark Ruffalo, uses the objects associated with Clementine to pretty much build this mapping system in Joel's brain. And the procedure is technically brain damage, according to Howard, but he says it's on par with a night of heavy drinking. But
which it's not.
No. And as we see, like, it is a process, and it's just feels traumatizing.
Yeah. I don't care. Just don't touch my brain.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my brain.
Who knows what impact that would have in the future. And as we see, there's impact for sure. And so at this point, things get way more trippy. There's a lot that happens, and I can't even explain it all. There's a lot of really cool camera moments and just different things that were done to me.
Mostly practical effects.
Yeah,
almost like people running behind the scenes to make stuff happen. There were times where they're switching sides, and Jim Carrey runs behind the cameraman and changes his hat and sits down and like continues the scene in another. Awesome. It's wild.
Yeah, it's very well done. It's seamless. It's really cool how a lot of these scenes are put together. So Joel is getting ready for the procedure. He's on the chair, and they mark 2 dots on his head, but you already see that there's marks already there. And Joel is starting to see glimpses of memories with Clementine, and she has a different hair color, and then he sees himself strapped to the machine, and it's just a weirdness going on, and you're like, okay, what is happening here? And it's just him reliving those memories and then forgetting.
Exactly. So it's essentially we are witnessing him losing his memory.
We're like in Joel's head. So then while this is happening, and it cuts to Stan and Patrick, which Patrick is Elijah Wood's character. So you learn that they both work for Lacuna Inc. and they're in Joel's apartment, and Joel's on his bed with the machine, and Stan is working on clearing his memories. So as they're doing that, Stan and Patrick are just talking and partially arguing and stuff, and Joel can kind of hear them a bit in his own memories. It's blending with reality. And then Stan and Patrick are talking about Joel and Clementine because they worked on Clementine recently. And Patrick mentions he has a new girlfriend, and then he's like, well, it's actually Clementine.
This freaking...
He's a freak, dude.
Absolute. He needs to go to jail. He's a pervert for sure.
He said he fell in love with her as she was asleep during the procedure. He stole one of her underwear.
I couldn't handle it. The minute I found out he stole it, it was bad enough he fell in love with her when she was asleep. So it's like, oh, I fell in love with basically this vibe of her.
This idea of her.
Okay. And then you took her panties?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And Stan's at first, he's like, whoa, what are you doing? That's unprofessional. But then he's laughing about it. And it's like, no, it's not okay at all.
That is not something to laugh about.
No. So then, as this is happening, Patrick ends up getting a call from Clementine, and she's having this breakdown. She's freaking out a bit, and he ends up going to see her. He leaves Stan to handle the procedure alone, but also Mary, who's played by Kirsten Dunst. She is the receptionist at Lacuna, and she ends up coming over because she's dating Stan. And sorry if the names get confusing, but
there's a lot that happens. There's a lot going on.
So now Patrick's leaving, and Mary comes over, and she's hanging out with Stan. Patrick goes over to Clementine, and he ends up giving her the Valentine's Day gift that Joel was going to give to her, because he ends up stealing all the shit that Joel had about Clementine and took it so that he could basically steal his identity. And
essentially he is using all the tricks. He knows that she fell in love with Joel. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to do everything he did that made her fall in love with him. Yeah. Which is, of course, slowly making her lose her mind. Yes. Because she doesn't remember, but there's part of her that kind of underlying does remember.
It's constant deja vu, which would freak me out for sure. So, yeah, the gift is this necklace, and Clementine's like, oh, this is exactly my style. I usually don't have luck with guys to, know what I like with jewelry. And Patrick's like, oh, yeah. Bitch.
God. I just wanted him to get arrested so bad. I was like, this is unethical.
Absolutely not. So back at Joel's apartment, Stan and Mary are partying and drinking and smoking while this is happening. Yes.
They're getting high while this man is losing his memories. Then they're drinking, and then they're dancing on the bed, and they're getting undressed.
Yes. And then they have sex.
Yeah, it's insane.
Crazy.
I literally can't understand it at all.
It's so unprofessional.
Yeah, you're at work. There's a man right there. Who trusted you to come into his home.
Yes.
And you're eating, and also they're drinking his alcohol. Yeah. They're banging on his furniture. That's unsanitary. God, and he's not going to remember that he paid you to do that the next day.
Yep. So that's happening, and then we jump back to Joel, and he's re-experiencing these memories with Clementine as they're being erased. So we end up seeing what their last fight was, and the fight happened because Clementine went back home to his apartment at like 3 a.m. She's drunk. She's like, hey, I think I wrecked your car. And Joel's like, you are so irresponsible. Why would you do that? You could have died. You could have killed someone, which is fair.
Yeah, because she's drunk.
Yeah. Completely valid. And Clementine's like, oh, you're angry because I went and had fun without you. And then he says, which is kind of crazy, she's like, you're probably thinking I had sex with someone. And he's like, yeah, that is what I'm thinking, because you use sex to get people to like you. And I'm like, whoa. And so she storms out. He follows her. He ends up seeing that his car is scratched by hitting a fire hydrant. And at the beginning of the movie, the same scratch was there, but he thought it was from someone else hit him. Else hitting, because he didn't remember it. So that's how we see, okay, so he forgot and where we're connecting. So that was their last fight, basically, before they broke up.
And by the end of it, he's apologizing. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, whatever. Yeah. And he's clearly just doesn't know how to articulate his feelings.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong with their relationship, but whatever.
Yeah, we could talk about their relationship. So, Joel starts thinking of earlier memories with her, and they're happier ones. They're really, love each other and just being silly together. And he realizes that he doesn't want to forget her. So his mental projection of Clementine, he's like pulling her around. He's like, hey, we have to hide here. And she's like, hey, hide me somewhere in a memory that doesn't have me. So, we can be safe there so I don't get deleted. And so he does do that. He ends up pulling her into a childhood memory. And she is like the neighbor or something, and so it's real trippy. But like they're in this memory together, and so this ends up halting the procedure, and Stan's like, what the fuck, what happened here? He calls Howard to help, and he comes over. He ends up restarting it and figuring out what happened and gets things back on track.
What's kind of cool is at the beginning of the movie, he had no idea that song, oh my darling, Clementine. He had no idea. And now you kind of realize, okay, the reason he didn't realize that is because this memory is connected to that song, his mom singing him that song. And so he kind of lost that memory because of the fact that he brought Clementine there.
Right, into that memory. Yep. It's a lot of cool. There's so much to dive into.
So much. So much.
So then he tries it again. He pulls her into other memories. And the one memory is my deleted scene. I hated. Yeah, he's like a little boy. And there's I don't know if it's dead or dying pigeon.
I think it's dead, but it's horrible.
Yeah, in a wagon. And these kids are like making him hit it with a hammer. And they don't show him hitting it, but they show the movement, and it's just so awful, and he's really upset, obviously. And
it's one of those things because he's talking about how much shame he feels in that moment, and she was like, you were a kid, you didn't know what you were doing, and it kind of reminds you of your own moments. There are things that I did as a kid that are like, oh my god, I feel so bad that I did those, but you're also a kid and you don't know that you're doing something wrong or whatever. So I think that it's kind of artsy in the way that they're doing that, but also it's not needed. It's not needed. We don't need to see him hit him. No, it's sad. It's so sad, and he's sad, and the whole thing's a bummer.
I know. It's a whole bummer.
Yeah.
And
my deleted scene would have been when they go back to the memory of him as a little kid, and Clementine flashes him as a little boy.
That was a good one too. Yeah. I was like, he's literally like, ew.
Gross. Like,
he's supposed to be like 4. And it's like, what the hell?
No, I get that she's trying to shock him back into being an adult man, but no.
Not it. There's a few childhood memory scenes where I'm like, all right.
I thought you were going to say at first, because I forgot about the sad little pigeon, I thought you were going to talk about the masturbation scene where he's masturbating to his own drawings of like a furry or something.
Creativity, for sure. Yeah, no, I thought about it, but then I was like, I didn't like the pigeon.
The pigeon one was a good choice.
Yeah. So that's happened, so they're going into few memories, and he's trying his best to hide her, and it's not working because Howard is kind of figuring it out and finding what's going on and pulling, continues to erase whatever Clementine's in. So as they're doing this, Howard's doing his thing, and Mary's complimenting him and is being a little weird, and then she goes and kisses him, and I was like, what the fuck?
Wild. What is happening?
Yeah, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm in love with you, all this stuff, and Howard's like, oh, I have a wife and kids, but then he goes and kisses her anyway, so I'm like, okay, so he's garbage, obviously. And so they're kissing, and Stan's outside, and he's kind of watching this from the window, and then Howard's wife shows up because she's suspicious of Howard. She was correct.
Yes.
And Stan ends up beeping the horn to catch Howard and Mary's attention. They both run out to Howard's wife, and she tells Howard to tell Mary the truth. And the truth is that Mary and Howard kind of had this thing before, and Mary had her memories erased. So Mary is very distraught about that, obviously, and goes back to the office and to confirm that definitely happened, and she ends up finding her file. So that absolutely happened.
Yep.
Crazy.
Super crazy.
Yeah, but it shows that she didn't stop liking Howard. So there's
and this is essentially like their relationship is a microcosm of all of the rest of the movie. So we can dive into that in a little bit.
So we go back to Joel and Clementine, and she's just being completely erased at this point. And then we finally reach their supposed first memory together of being on the beach. So he was dating someone named Naomi at the time.
Yes. Who, by the way, did have some scenes, but they cut them all. It was
really?
Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy, the main blonde doctor. Okay. She was the ex-girlfriend. Yeah. Or at this time, actual girlfriend.
Yeah, it seemed like they just weren't good together. I don't know. Joel just seemed unhappy.
Yeah.
And anyway, they were supposed to go together with their friends to the beach, but she couldn't go, so Joel just went by himself. And he's sitting eating chicken wings by himself, and he sees Clementine's hoodie, her orange hoodie. She ends up sitting next to him, and they're talking, and she takes a piece of chicken from his plate, and she's being her quirky self. And they introduce each other, and at that point he brings up the Huckleberry Hound theme song when she brings up Clementine, so it shows that he this is definitely a flashback. He knew it.
Yep.
So then she's like, they're hanging out, and then she's like, I want to stay the night at this house on the beach. And he's like, someone lives here, and she breaks it, and I'm like, oh my god.
Dude, I would have been running away. No way.
She's out of her mind.
She really is.
She's like, yo, they got alcohol, all this stuff. And as this is happening, things are starting to collapse. So the memories disappearing. So things are starting to collapse. And then they start talking about the memory. And Joel tells her that he ended up leaving as she went upstairs because he thought she was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and also she had said, like, leave, and he felt dismissed. Sorry, were you about to say that?
No, yeah.
Okay.
No. She did tell him to leave if he didn't want to be there. He was like, all right, I'm gone then.
Yeah.
And he says that he wished he didn't leave, and Clementine tells him, well, you can just stay. And so he comes back, and before the memory completely vanishes, she tells him to meet her in Montauk.
Mm-hmm.
So, procedure is done. Stan is packing up everything. Everything looks normal inside Joel's apartment. He wakes up, and this is the start of the movie. Everything the same happens. He sees the car scratch. He takes the train because he remembers Montauk for some reason. And then we jump to Patrick knocking on Joel's car door because Patrick's like, what the fuck? We literally just erased your memory. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And Patrick goes to try and talk to Clementine, and Clementine's like, leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
You crazy person. She grabs her stuff. She ends up grabbing her mail as well and getting into Joel's car. And the one envelope is from Mary. So Mary went back and ended up stealing all the files and mailing that to the people that lost their memories because she's like, this is not right.
Yeah.
So she does that, and Clementine's like, what is this? And puts the cassette in the car cassette player. And it's her speaking about Joel. And she says some pretty mean things because, you know, she was upset.
Post-breakup.
Yeah. So, you know, saying he's boring and awful, all this stuff. And Joel's like, what is this?
Yeah,
like,
what the hell?
Can you imagine?
That is wild.
Is this a joke?
I definitely would have been like, you're insane. Leave.
Yeah. If I wasn't convinced before, this was it.
Yes. Yeah.
And so Clementine's also confused. She's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And he kicks her out for his car. He goes back home. Clementine ends up later going to his apartment, and Joel is listening to the tape he made about Clementine because he also received his documents. He's also saying some fucked up shit. And at first, Clementine's like, no, it's fine. And then eventually she's like,
this
no,
is
it's not fine.
This is rough. Right.
And she goes to leave, but Joel stops her in the hallway, and they're both like, we're going to get bored and feel stuck, and it's not going to work out. And he's just like, so what? And so they decide to try it again.
Yep.
And the movie ends with them on the beach together, but it repeats 3 times. So it's a hint that this is probably not the last time the procedure is done for them. But it's left open. So
that was interesting. I didn't even connect that aspect of the three repeats, but
yeah. That's kind of how I saw it, as constantly looping, which is really sad.
Yeah, the original script had it where it began with an old woman, and it was later revealed that was Mary. So, and she is trying to publish a manuscript called Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind.
Okay. That's
a tell-all about Lacuna. And, you know, we discover at the end of the screenplay, she's still working for Howard, who's very, very old. Yeah. And we learn that Clementine has had Joel erased at least 15 times over the years.
Ooh, okay.
So that's the original. So I could see why, knowing that that's what the movie started as, that the little hint at the repetition and patterns.
Yeah, that makes sense then, because I'm like, there's no way that they only did this once, like at least twice. Right. And you know, that weird encounter they had on the train earlier where we're like, why are they like talking to each other? I think it was just that pull that they felt for each other, and there was just something that was like, I have to talk to this person. Yeah. And so that's just gonna constantly bring them back. And honestly, I don't think they're great together. I do think there are aspects that work for them, but I think that they both need severe therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And without that, it's probably never going to work out. Maybe one day they could work out, but without that, it's just not, because especially Clementine, she is...
Yeah, there's a lot of growth that needs to happen for each individual character, and it leaves you on this note where they're going to try again. And so you think, okay, they could potentially take this moment and reflect and see, you know, maybe they can't remember what they did wrong, but go into this with this mindset of like, okay, let's work on it. Let's make sure that we're focused on the positive and, you know, embrace whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're not actively making those choices, you're going to end up in spirals of repetition.
Yeah.
Which is kind of this hint that, you know, there probably is. We see that with Mary and the doctor, where she is still going after him. She's still following these patterns. So if you choose to forget these incidences that happen, you can't grow from them. You can't learn and improve.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're just going to do the same thing again. I just think that they had to have gone a few times.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Which also, if you're the friend and you keep getting these notices of your friend getting their memory erased.
That's what, because I was like on Reddit, and to make sure I had the timeline correct, and someone made a note like, yeah, you know, I feel like with the friends pointing that out, it would be hard for it to have happened multiple times, because it's like,
yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that makes it a little bit but also
I feel like after a bit I'd be like, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking do anything.
I mean, there gets to a point where your friendship's gonna degrade because this dude cannot handle this breakup, which I get it, it's a shitty breakup, it sucks, but at the same time, he is a little bit, honestly, I feel like Clementine is a little abusive in her actions towards him, verbally so, where she is just very aggressive at him, and she is really mean to him, and he doesn't know how to stand up for himself. So he doesn't know how to say like, oh, you're hurting my feelings, whatever. They're out to dinner, she's drinking, he's thinking in his head she's going to get stupid. Yeah. And then she starts, you know, saying really passive aggressive comments to him about, you know, cleaning up or whatever. Yeah. And he just takes it.
Yeah. And, you know, there's times where she wants him to open up and he doesn't. He doesn't know how to open up. So, you know,
there's definitely problems on both sides. I shouldn't say Clementine's the only problem, because she's not. He definitely has issues. Yeah. I
would say Clementine has a little bit more issues based on what we've seen. Right. But yes.
Yeah. She needs to learn some emotional control and like positive outlets.
Yeah. And I think she's just letting everything out. She just doesn't hold anything back. She has no filter. And Joel is the opposite. He's just, everything's closed in. He doesn't open up. Yeah. And, you know, I think that just makes it very difficult for both these type of people.
Yeah. So. And probably part of why they're drawn to each other, because he wants to open up more. She wants to be more reserved, but they're not capable of reflecting that in each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the one scene, they see a baby and she's like, oh, I want a baby. I want to be a mom. And he's like, oh, we can talk about that another time. She's like, no, we can talk about it right now. And he's like, well, you know, I just don't think you're ready. And she's like, I'd be a good mom. And she's like freaking out and like screaming at him. And I'm like, how did this end up this way? And literally was just like, hey, here's my opinion. And we could have talked about this later, but that's just how she is. She's just very jumps the gun. It's like, okay, you hate me. I'm going to jump off a bridge right now.
Right. It's a lot. It's tough.
Yeah. So, but yeah. What a movie. I love movies that jump back and forth in timeline.
Do you?
I do. Yeah. I love being confused.
I love when there's a good twist that I don't expect, which obviously I expected the twist in this one because I've seen it before, but so I can't remember if it was a twist for me once upon a time. It was fun to live vicariously through Travis for that.
Yeah.
It does feel, it's kind of a sad movie because you don't feel good at the end of it. So I wasn't looking forward to watching it because I knew, I remembered not liking their relationship when I watched it. And I remembered them ending with not remembering each other anymore, which I find to be very sad. I think that this idea of erasing bad memories, you know, what you come to realize in the movie is that along with erasing the bad memories, you also erase the good memories. And so in one of the opening scenes, we see that as he's going into Lacuna, there's this woman sitting there with her box of dog stuff. And I was just like, oh, that hurt.
I know.
Because you're like, yeah, of course it's devastating in that moment of loss to be grieving your lost pet. But then you also will forget every good moment you ever had with them. And is that worth it? Is that worth the reprieve from the pain?
Yeah, and not just that, but the procedure is just you reliving all of that. And as we saw with Joel, he's reliving it all. He realizes, I don't want to forget her.
Yeah. And you can't stop.
You can't stop it. And I feel like that's so traumatizing. Even though you won't remember you went through that. That is so awful to imagine.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like you said, you can't grow, you can't learn. Right. Even if the memories are hard, it's, you know, you're losing everything. It's just crazy, you know?
Exactly. And it is kind of a form of death, because you're losing time that you experience. You're losing experiences. You're losing this aspect of your life, and it's just completely gone. That is sad. Who is that person? You don't get to become who you are today. You kind of stagnate yourself.
And then you can meet that person again and go through the same shit. So it's
over and over and over.
I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that procedure would not be for me. No. I will deal with my memories, and
no matter how painful, I will handle them. It's part of being a human being. You can't can't take that away. And that's the central question is, you know, is forgetting a solution, or are you just going to make the same mistakes? And I think you make the same mistakes. You're not going to.
Yeah. You know. I think that's what this movie shows, you know, that it's not good, and it's going to be a constant loop of the same bullshit. So
yeah, exactly. Do you want me to give you some more fun facts?
Yeah, I'll take some fun facts.
Okay. So with more, just like a little bit more about the practical effects, essentially they use forced perspective a lot. So one of the things they did is that scene where he's a kid, instead of, you know, manipulating it, they instead just made all the furniture oversized. So he was a regular sized human acting it out under just a really giant table and things like that, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, that whole scene was trippy to watch.
It was.
Of the perspective.
It's wild. And then there's bookstore scenes, and I don't know if you were noticing, but as he's forgetting things, there are little like blanks popping up. So the titles off the books are disappearing and the page covers are going blank. And so to do that, they had the production assistants actually remove the books while they're walking through the store to kind of hide and show the blankness. And the beach house is actually collapsing around Joel because they built a house and had it collapse in the water as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The moment when they are running together and he's trying to escape his past catching up with him, the director actually had Kate Winslet go out a secret way offset, so Jim Carrey would genuinely not know where she went, and it led to his actually being confused. And that also leads to the point that Jim Carrey was really frustrated filming this movie because he is usually a much louder character. We all know him for his comedic roles. He doesn't really play these reserved characters as much. And he did embrace it. He really connected with this side of Joel and feeling this sense of emotion and not being able to express it. So he was able to relate to it. But the director was, because Joel's character is so reserved, he essentially wanted to make sure Jim Carrey didn't break those boundaries. So he would tell the other characters, this is a comedy, improvise, let loose, go crazy. So Mark Ruffalo, go get into it. And then he would tell Jim Carrey, this is a drama. This isn't a comedy. You need to, whatever. So Jim Carrey was getting so frustrated because everyone else was getting different
had a good time,
directives, and he is being forced to be very straight-laced, which of course is not his usual MO. Right. So there is some improvisation and stuff that happens, but not on his part.
Oh, poor Jim.
Yeah.
Is this his first serious role?
I don't know if it's his first serious one.
Truman Show might be.
I think the Truman Show is kind of serious.
It's pretty serious, but he's still, I think, his typical self in that. Yeah. But I would say that might have been his first more serious role.
Yeah.
He's a good actor, though.
Yeah, he is. He is a good actor. Okay, two more. The name of Lacuna. I was really curious. I was like, what does Lacuna mean? Because it's not the doctor's last name. So it comes from the Latin word meaning gap or missing part. Oh. So it's referencing the gaps left in your memories after having them erased.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then a friend of the director, artist Pierre Bismuth, was looking to do an art concept where he wanted to essentially send a card to people mentioning that they had been erased from someone's memory that they thought they knew, because he wanted to kind of record the reactions in this art experiment, which would be so traumatizing. No.
I would not be able to trust anything ever again.
No, that would be horrible.
I would think I was like in the Matrix or something.
Yes, I would be like, I'm on the Truman Show. You know what I mean? Yes. That's too intense for me. So essentially, he decided not to do that. Luckily for these human beings who have real feelings.
God.
Yeah. And instead worked with Gondry to develop that idea and that concept and work a story around it. And the movie did end up getting a 2005 Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay.
Good shit.
Yeah.
I'd say it deserves it.
I would say so, for sure.
So my most memorable scene was the beach house collapsing final memory. I thought that was really well done, and I just really enjoyed that whole bit.
Yeah.
And it was sad.
Sad. Yeah.
Main character, smash or pass? I said smash.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Why not?
Both.
Yeah.
Screw it. Side character, I said Patrick, and pass.
Hard pass.
Don't even come near me.
That is like 50-foot restraining order minimum.
Yes.
50 miles ideal.
Yep.
Hate that.
Nope. Stan?
You know, it's young Mark Ruffalo.
I like Marky.
he's Travis. I was like, young Mark Ruffalo comes on screen. He's like, oh God. He's like, calm down.
I can't.
I'm sorry. Do you see his luscious hair? Like
his chest hair.
Look at his glasses. Come on.
So cute.
Anyway,
fall in love. I in the middle. I said 5 because I would say yes to some moments and then no to other moments. It just depends.
It depends.
You know, my memory constantly erased and coming back. It's 50-50 shot.
Yeah, you have brain damage, so you're gonna.
Who knows?
It seems like an inevitability at that point, the way that they're drawn to each other again and again. But
yeah,
would I have been attracted to Clementine, who's drinking on a train? No. Would I have been attracted to Jim Carrey, who seems a little bit serial killery with his silence and self-reserve? No. But you know what?
Right.
If you already have those seeds planted,
right.
I will say, even the original meet cute at the beach and she steals his chicken, all I could think to myself was, if that was me and someone stole chicken off my plate, I'd be like, can you go get me some more? Because
interesting with that scene, he does mention that, the way she took the chicken off his plate was like they were already lovers. So I wonder if that was even their first time meeting.
Interesting. So, that's really interesting.
I don't know.
I like that interpretation of it.
Yeah, so I would it's not a good meet cute.
No. It's not, it's not gonna zing me, but
yeah, like, why are you stealing food off my plate? I don't know.
I'm a growing girl. let me eat.
I can't even imagine stealing food off someone's plate that I don't
Someone that I just met? Absolutely not. First of all, they might have licked that piece of chicken. I don't know their food etiquette.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But she is a little bit bananas. She has some problems. She
could care less about that type of stuff.
I'm pretty sure she lives her life ready to die the next day. So
probably.
Yeah.
So would I would recommend this movie. It's just a very good movie and everyone should watch it. Rating. I ended up giving it 5 because I just think it's very good.
Wow.
I thought about giving it 4.8 or 9, but I was like, you know what? No, this was a goodie. Like you said, with the romance, the relationship. But I was like, the idea of just coming back to each other is so romantic, even if it feels like toxic.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And,
It
it
is,
had
yeah.
fun sci-fi bits to it, and the story, the characters, and there was just a lot of cool stuff with it. So I was like,
yeah, wow.
that 5.
I'm surprised.
So.
All right.
Yeah. What would you have rated it?
Because of the toxicness, I was gonna go lower.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say 4.3 because for me, the romance, it just was too. It just. I just would have liked to have more positive memories of them.
Yeah.
I think, but they tell a good story. So because of it being a good story, I actually am going to reframe that and put it at 4.6. But I don't love the romance. I agree with you. I love the idea of coming back to each other, even having forgotten one another. I think that's a really beautiful concept. I think I would have liked it more. I was also very caught up on her drinking, and I think that's because of my own traumas with knowing alcoholics, where I was like, stop.
That's fair.
So that part too was a little bit of an ick for me, but yeah, I would go 4.6.
Yeah, I do like that they were messy and they weren't perfect people.
Agreed. I think that's good. I think it's good. So. I think that it shows realness in that way.
Yeah.
I think that for me, if there was none of her drinking thing, I probably would have been like 5. That really bothered me.
Yeah, no, listen, Clem's got a lot going on, so I totally get that. Yeah. For sure. So.
Yeah, because I think it's just, there's a lot to say about, okay, if you have, you have something to work on and you love someone and it's hard to be like, I'm not going to be with you anymore just because you're like, I can see what we can have. But when it's something really big like that, I'm like, you have a problem. You need to go to AA.
Yeah. And it doesn't show, neither of them do anything to get help that we see. So, there's no real
It could happen, but I think that they are bound to repeat patterns, especially unless they are making active choices, which we don't really get the impression they will. Yeah. But it's still beautiful. I did like the hopefulness of the ending.
Yeah.
And I liked the movie. It was a good movie. Just didn't leave me feeling great.
Yeah, it didn't leave me feeling too sad.
Yeah, no, I didn't cry. But
yeah. But
what did Brett have to say about watching it again? Did he give any sort of insights?
Yeah, no, I mean, he still really loves the movie. He said he wouldn't give it a 5. He said that he would give it more of like, I forget, 4.4, probably like around what you rated.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm more picky than you. I'm like, okay. You literally claimed this to be one of your favorites. So.
Right, exactly. What are you talking about? First of all, you've given like 3 5-stars in the whole time we've talked about romances. I think you just have different tastes of what I'm actually knowing that it's the sci-fi elements in there too. I think that helped you a little bit. I didn't ask Travis what he would rate it, but I'll have to see because I'm curious.
Yeah. See what he would have. I'm sure it's probably pretty good, but
yeah, he definitely liked it.
Yeah, watching this, I was like, I can see why you like this movie, Brett.
Yeah.
All the ingredients.
I can't, dude, I'm watching it and just knowing it's one of his favorites. I just looking at Jim Carrey and I'm like, young Brett, is that you?
With the hair.
Yes. The hair and the beanie. And just, yes, this tall, quiet man. I was like, oh my God.
Saw himself.
I believe it.
And I was like, it's probably good he never met a psychopath, started dating psychopath. He's like, you. Got married to you. Okay, well.
I mean, but like, you're cute.
So, I'm not as crazy, I don't think.
No. I mean, not that I've seen, unless you're keeping it all behind closed doors.
Yes.
I think I've seen your true colors, but maybe I haven't. Maybe Brett needs to, go to Lacuna.
Yeah. I don't remember when I was trying to wrangle him.
Yeah.
I think it's like a little quirky, but not anything
Ugh.
out there. It's just,
I was definitely I played the not like other girls game where I really saw myself as this quirky girl. We went to the park one day and I kept running away from him and like slipping from his grasp. Yeah, it's so cringy. Like it's horrible. I hate that, but yeah, I ripped my favorite shirt that way too. Yeah. He was so annoyed.
So quirky.
Yeah, it was so quirky and he was like, I'm annoyed. What are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
I was also older, so if I was younger, I probably would have done some shit like that.
This is also the worst part about being with someone for as long, like these transitional periods of life where I'm like, he's seen me at the most cringe. He's seen me at almost peak cringe.
Rough times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. You just got to give me the next one, baby.
All right, the next one. Your movie. I'm having you watch, which I don't think you watched, but it's going to be Alien Romulus. Did you watch Alien Romulus?
The most recent one?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Travis and I were just talking about the other day. We need to watch it. So that's perfect. Yeah. Yay.
I'm going to have you watch that. So,
great.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a better one. Thank you for giving me the gift in this month of February, the best month of the year, not making me watch another horrifying monstrosity.
When I was thinking of them and I saw the movie that you wanted to recommend to me and I was looking at the 3 and I'm like, oh. And then I was thinking more on it, like the keywords, and I was like, oh.
It was a good
I got two.
Okay.
So either one works.
Okay.
But anyway, I was like, fuck yeah.
Patrick Swayze's in Romulus.
I wish. Oh, I wish. Anyway, I figured you would mostly enjoy this, we'll see what you like, but
it's something that I want to watch. So in that way, I don't ever like being scared, but I think I'll enjoy Romulus, hopefully.
I think you will, based on your
track record
of alien movies.
Yeah.
So, Alien Romulus is a sequel to the original kind of alien movie. So it takes place after the first one.
But before the second.
Before the second one.
Cool.
Squeezed in there.
Yeah.
And it's about a group of young space colonists, and they discover that there's a space station kind of hovering out in the atmosphere, and they decide to go check it out and scavenge for certain things. They're looking for something specifically. I won't say what. When they go up there, they discover that there's something in there that is not good, and they have to survive against it. I really enjoyed this one. I've seen it a few times already.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
all right. So it's going to be decent. All right. I forget. Did you remind me, because we've definitely talked about this. Prometheus, you liked it or didn't like it?
I did like Prometheus.
Okay. And then the other one, what's the other one?
Covenant.
You didn't like that one?
Not really.
Okay.
It wasn't that. It was just what they decided to do with the plot, the story, and the lore. I was like,
Covenant was Prometheus was the one with the new David or whatever.
With the original David. So Covenant was the one. Yeah, Covenant was the one where so it's pretty much the scientists that were discovered in the original Alien movie. So when they go...
Yeah,
it was
I remembered, yes, because there was one that I was a little bored during and one that I was riveted during. And I'm pretty sure Prometheus I was riveted. And
yeah, Covenant was I
don't think it was as good. But okay.
It did some weird things. But anyway, I like this one. It takes a lot from the original 4. Okay. So if you've seen... I know you've only seen the first 2, but yeah, if you were to have seen all of them, you'll pick up little things, and it's pretty cool. So
little Easter eggs. That's fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, you can. Hulu's the only place that has it right now.
Okay. Great. I have Hulu. For free. So awesome.
Perfect
for me.
Yeah. Screw everyone else.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks for listening to How Do You Watch This? You can find us on Instagram at How Do You Watch This and TikTok at How Do You Watch, or email us at howdoyouwatchthis@gmail.com. If you like the show, support us by giving us a review or recommend to a friend. Thank you and goodbye.
See you next time.